Saludos desde Tijuana. This is going to be about getting residency in Mexico. If you are thinking of moving to Mexico, I am not an expert in this. My passion is traveling through Mexico and showing you different parts of Mexico. But in my lives, I get this question a lot. There's a lot of content creators that talk about this. You could do your own research, but I figure since I'm getting the questions, I'm going to go ahead and make a video. Whenever you see this little blue circle, that means it's come up in my videos and someone has asked me to make a video so that all the information is in one place. To enter Mexico, you would get a FMM, which is a Forma Multiple Migratoria, maybe it's Migratoria Multiple. It's 861 pesos. You would get it at the border or at the airport at your point of entry. I live in a border town, so if you are coming in for less than 7 days, it is free, but you are still supposed to get the FMM. I think now they put it directly into your passport. When I came in 2019, it was a separate form. So my situation, I got my residency through family unity. So my husband is a Mexican citizen. So I got the FMM, and then I hired a facilitator. I did not want to be going through the back and forth, the paperwork, new country, how does it work? I just didn't want to deal with that. Plus, the pandemic had just started. So they took care of everything for me. The translations of my marriage certificate, my birth certificate, doing the apostle, all of that, all the appointments. They took me to my appointment. Like, they took care of everything, and it was wonderful. Depending on what state you're going to, I can probably connect you to a facilitator in that state, but for me it was worth it. So everyone is different. You can do it on your own, but you could be going back and forth quite a few times. For my residency, we just needed like my passport, his email. He had to write a letter. It was like really simple. And then I chose 2-year temporary residency. I believe now there's an option for 1 year, but I did 2-year. And then I went to permanent residency, and now I'm studying for my citizenship. The max you can have temporary is 4 years. So after 4 years, then you have to switch to permanent residency. If you qualify for dual citizenship, you're golden. If your parents, grandparents, or if let's say you are married to a Mexican citizen and you have Mexican children that they got their dual citizen, then you can get your permanent residency. You don't need to do your temporary residency. You would do your permanent residency, and you would do that inside of Mexico. I believe you could start that on the outside too, on the consulate. So now let's say if you don't have family unity, you can't get dual citizenship, then the way you would have to do it is through financial solvency, is what it's called. You would start that process at your local Mexican consulate. Now, right now, it's insane to get appointments. I know, because a lot of people are driving to Tijuana and doing it here. But for financial solvency, you want to start it in your home country. Sometimes you're going to have to just show up at the consulate to make your appointment in person. There is a phone number that I have, but I'm not sure if it just works for LA. But I will put it at the end with also the websites that also give you more information about trámites migratorias aquí in Mexico. For financial solvency, I have seen each consulate is different to complicate things. So I have seen as low as $2,500 monthly in Raleigh, North Carolina, as high as $4,000. So if you are able to go to other states around you, check the consulate website to see what their threshold is for the monthly amount. Be prepared to take 6 months worth of bank statements. I would take 12 just in case. If you don't have the monthly, they will also look at your savings, your average of your last 12 months. And then you would need your passport, that type of information, and you would go to your local consulate and fill out the application. Once you have that information and you move to Mexico, you have 30 days to do the canje process, which means going to the INM office and then doing your temporary residency. So you don't get your temporary residency outside of Mexico, you get it here, but you start your process and then you do the canje, like the exchange, in order to get your actual card. And just 3 additional points that I've seen not answered correctly in other places. One is your FMM. So let's say you are just going to come and travel in Mexico and see if it's the right fit for you. And a lot of people say, oh, you get 180 days. It's not guaranteed that you're going to get 180 days. Back in the day, yes. But in the last few years, they don't. So when you come in your port of entry, be sure to check how many days they gave you to see if that matches with what you need. So that's the FMM process. The other one, with the temporary residency, you cannot work legally in Mexico. And you should also consider strongly if that is something that you want to do regardless, because you're taking employment from a Mexican citizen. Now, with permanent residency, you can. Actually, let me go back. With temporary residency, you can get a work permit, and then you're able to work in Mexico. With a permanent residency, you can. With both, you can get your bank account as long as you get your RFC, which I will go over in another video. I talk about it in my lives. And what else? You could buy a car, your driver's license, all that stuff. The other thing, with residency, even with permanent residency, you cannot sponsor anyone else. You cannot bring in your parents. They have to do it on their own with financial solvency. So let me know if I answered all your questions. If not, leave a comment. If I cannot answer them, I will find someone that can or research it for you. See you soon.